Today I wanted to talk about the 3 most important handbooks to have in place when you're starting your childcare business. Now, again, this could be a home daycare, preschool program, after school program, childcare center, whatever type of childcare business you are thinking of starting, of opening. These are the 3 most important handbooks that I find you have to have in place in order to be able to operate a smooth childcare business. I know there's a lot of paperwork when you're starting a brand new business, especially a childcare business. And, a lot of the time we get really overwhelmed with what do I do? How do I write that? And how do I create that? And I hope that this video is going to kind of give you some type of guidance so that you're not wasting your time trying to do all the things that you don't necessarily need when you're starting out. So welcome to the video. My name is Christina Rizakos. I am a brand new homeschooling mom of 4. I am an early childhood educator by trade with over 23 years experience in the field of early childhood education. I have owned and operated my own childcare center since 2004 up until 2019, towards the end when I decided to sell it to move on to something else. I started my business at 24 because I knew that I could serve my community. I wanted to offer exceptional care, an amazing program. I wanted to be surrounded by quality staff, and I also wanted to be able to have the freedom to live the life that I wanted, to be able to take the summer off or Christmas break off, or not think about having to ask a boss for a day off, or not having to think about being in the center. And I managed to do that. It took some time, but I managed to do that. And here I am right now. I am the founder of profitabledaycare.com, which is a blog that I post weekly free trainings that you can go check out. And also I am the founder of Elevated Childcare CEO. That is my group coaching program. That is a membership community where I train and I coach on all things policy booklets, educational program, team handbooks, templates, mindset, as well as Facebook ads. And I do that online, and it is specifically designed for aspiring, new, or struggling childcare business owners. So that's what I do, and that's who I am. And I welcome you if this is your very first time watching one of my videos. So let's dive into this. I don't have any notes in front of me because I am so used to talking about this topic. It's like second nature to me. So when you're starting out and you are, putting all the steps in place to start your brand new childcare business, there are 3 documents that you'll need to have in place. You'll need to create before you open your doors. Okay. So the first is your policy booklet. So policy handbook, whatever you want to call it. The second is your educational program, right? And the third is your team handbook. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through in a bit more detail. Not too much detail because we'll be here forever, but I'll walk you through the 3 handbooks in detail, and I'll talk to you a little bit about why they're important and how you can start thinking of your booklet. So maybe you have something, maybe you put something together that was really, really, quickly done, and you just put something together so that you can get your license. Maybe you were someone that copied someone else's educational program and you know that it's lacking and you want to take the time to create your own, right? Whatever your case is, I want you to understand that it is never too late to go back and update these documents. That's the beautiful part about being a business owner, right? You have control over that. So whether you're starting out or whether you've been in business for a while, these 3 documents are the most important. So let's start with your policy handbook. A policy handbook is very simple. I call it the Bible of your business, right? This is the document that you're going to give to every single one of your paying customers. You're going to upload it on your website. You're going to upload it inside your smaller Facebook communities if you have them. These are the rules and regulations of your business, right? You have a business. You're offering a service. People are paying you for the service. So it's up to you as the business owner to kind of set the tone as to what your paying customers should expect from your services, what you want from them in terms of their responsibility, right? Rules that they have to follow, all your non-negotiables. And this has to be really, really detailed inside your policy handbook. Parents these days, as I'm sure you must have noticed, do not have time to read through a novel. They just want to know their information. They want to know what they have to do, and then they just want to move on with their day. Okay. So when you're writing your handbook, I want you to keep that in mind. The rule of thumb is make sure that your copy, the text that you're writing in this document, is skimmable. Like they'll be able to see once they open this document what they're looking for. So it has to be separated in sections, right? It has to be, it has to have like a title, a subheading, and then some subtitles in the bottom. Point format is always best because again, it's skimmable. It's easy for parents to go through this versus like paragraphs and paragraphs. And it has to touch important points in your business. Okay, so this is going to look different for every single business out there. And obviously, depending where you are running your business from, right? The state, the province, the town, this is going to differ. But generally, there are a few things that you have to have in place in this handbook. So I'm going to walk you through a few. I would start it off with an overview section, really just giving an idea to your paying customers as to who you are, what your business stands for, what your mission statement is, a little story about you or the business, and just really making them understand right from the beginning who you are and what you stand for. Next, obviously, you want to inform them on your address, how to reach you, your hours of operation. You want to talk about the enrollment process, what that looks like in your business. You want to talk about payments, right? That's a big one that you have to have in place in your booklet, and it also has to be extremely detailed. So how you get paid, the dates that you're expecting these payments by, what happens if these dates aren't respected, are there penalties, what happens if a check bounces, right? And so on and so on. Parents need to know that you've taken the time to write this document because you're a business owner, right? And you have to take on that role. So don't feel bad or intimidated when we are telling other people what we're expecting in terms of payment, because you're a business owner, right? You're exchanging your services for money, right? You're a business owner. So this has to be really clear inside the book. So take your time when you're writing that section and really just think about it, right? You also might want to add your contracts, right? How that works in your center. Do you do yearly contracts with the parents? Do you do 6-month contracts? When do you have the right to cancel a contract? So for example, if you know that it's not a good fit between your center and a specific family, maybe a child has special needs that you cannot accommodate, right? Whatever the case is for your business, there are a lot of reasons why a childcare business owner might want to end someone's contract, right? So think about them and detail them in point format inside this handbook. Now, along with that, there's plenty of other topics you can add. Allergies, registration sheets. You want to talk about policies when it comes to field trips, what types of procedures you follow, anything that has to do with social media and pictures, safety, security. These are just to name a few, you guys. There's so many topics that you should add in this book. So just to give you an example, my policy booklet in my center and the way I teach my students is to write a policy handbook that's at least 70 pages long, right? Again, it's not a novel. It's really separated in a 3-step process that I teach inside my programs, but it is super simple and easy to follow, easy to read, and parents just know that they're covered, right? They're covered. If they want to know about a payment, if they want to know about how to call in sick, they know exactly what they have to do because everything is detailed inside this policy handbook. And at the end, what I usually do is I add a few extra pages where I'm asking the parents to give consent. So for example, if let's say, for example, a child has to be driven to the emergency, right? So I write a little blurb and I make the parents sign. Photography, right? So let's say I have a small Facebook group for my paying customers and I want to share, let's say, weekly pictures with that group. Obviously, you need permission, so I have them sign that. If we want to take a short walk around the daycare, right, you can add that in the back, right? So you don't have to necessarily be creating templates like all over the place. You can just add those behind your policy booklet and update them as you go along and date them. And then when your parents are ready to sign their child on your program, they get a copy, you read it over with them in the office. Well, at least I hope you do, because that's what I do. Parents always have questions, right? So it's good to really go through this with them and then have them sign the end, keep the signed copy, and then give them a copy for themselves. Now, if you don't want to be printing up copies and copies for everyone, because I know that gets expensive, You can always do this digitally, but I would strongly suggest that you have a few copies lying around in your office, maybe pinned up on your bulletin board, so that that parent that maybe lost it or doesn't know where to access it on your website, because that does happen, you can actually just offer them that printed copy that you have lying around in your space, in your daycare, in your office. So that's just a little bit about your policy handbook. Again, there's a lot more I can say about this, but we would be here forever. Just understand that this document is the first one to write. And most of the time, you need to have this in place before you get your license, right? Second, most important handbook to have in place when you're opening your center is your educational program, obviously, right? So what is this that you're offering to your community, to the kids in your care? And again, a few things that I want to mention. This is going to look different, and it's supposed to look different for every center, because we don't all believe in the same things. We don't all do the same things in our programs, right? So you may be doing Regio, you may be doing high scope, you may believe in a philosophy that you put together. Maybe you mixed and matched a few philosophies and you just created one that works for you in your center, right? You want to make sure that you detail that inside this educational program. The educational program is obviously a handbook that is written on its own, so it's separate from your policy handbook, because this is all about your program. This is all about the amazing things that you're going to teach the kids, all the beliefs and values that your center believes in, interventions, checklists, the way you observe the children, staff parent night, and how do you do that, and just anything that deals with the program, you have to have in place inside this handbook, okay? Now, this should also be quite developed, because what I see happening most of the time is that business owners that maybe never operated a daycare before, or they're just paid by someone to run the center, what they do is they just go online and they copy someone else's educational program. But that doesn't work, because if you don't believe in everything that you have in your in this educational program, in this handbook, then things are not going to flow in your center. You're going to start attracting staff that doesn't really understand what your center is about. You're going to start attracting staff that believes in one philosophy while you believe in another. Okay, so this is really important that you do this work before you start hiring staff. So it doesn't mean that, when I say hiring staff, you can be hiring just an assistant, but you want to make sure that everyone's on the same page, right? So I'll give you an example. When I was looking for a job, a long time ago after school, I was taught a certain way, right? I didn't believe in timeout. And I believed in a more diplomatic approach, like going down on one knee and really encouraging the kids to resolve their issue amongst themselves, right? And I was there to kind of guide them. So I didn't believe in timeout chairs, and I never practiced that. So when I started looking for jobs, I remember one of the daycares that I went in for an interview, this was one of the questions. What do you do when two kids are arguing? What do you do when two kids are, one child hits another child? So I told them what I would do, and they looked at me like, no, we believe in timeout. So we expect all our staff to practice timeout. They had a chair in the class that was the bad timeout chair, and they expected the staff to take the child and put them on this chair. So I knew right from the beginning that this was not an area for me, and obviously I did not continue the interview. I just excused myself and I left. So you have to be really careful with your educational program, okay? So what types of things would you add? So many amazing things, okay? So let me walk you through a few. Again, you would talk about your vision statement and your mission statement. Those are two completely different things. You started off from there, and then you would talk a little bit about your philosophy, right? So what type of philosophy do you follow? And then you would detail a little bit about it and why, right? And what I always suggest, especially to my clients, is to give examples, because parents don't understand what a regio means, or, learning through play. They don't understand that. But if you actually take the time to give a few examples, then they get it. Then it clicks in their heads and they're like, oh yes, this is the perfect center for us, or no, it's not really for us, right? And again, one thing I want you to keep in mind is that not every family is going to be a good fit for your program as well, which is a good thing, because that's what you want, right? You don't want to have a program that just is open for everyone and you think you're going to make everyone happy. You're not, okay? So you have to be true to your vision. You have to be true to your mission statement, what you believe in as an early childhood educator, as a manager or a director of a center, and then just take your decisions and create policies and handbooks that reflect that, okay? So You would talk a little bit about your mission statement. You would talk about your philosophy, give some examples. You would definitely cover interventions, like how do you deal with that? How is your staff trained? Do you follow a professional? Let's say that you base your interventions on a professional's work. If you do, share about that, give examples, give scenarios, and explain to the parents why you believe this, which is really important because you want the parents to understand why you're doing what you're doing, right? And then after that, you would go into your policies on nutrition and what that looks like, health and hygiene, self-esteem. I mean, there's so many amazing things you could put inside this document. Again, it's pretty developed, right? I don't want you to limit yourself to lesson planning, right? This is not lesson planning. This is your educational program. It's so much bigger than that. Right, lesson plan, yes, obviously it's important and everyone should have a lesson plan, whether you do it monthly or weekly or bi-weekly, but that's not the focus of your educational program, right? That's just something that your lesson planning should be based on your philosophy on early childhood education, not the other way around, okay? So you want to talk about schedules in the classroom. You want to talk how you do, what's the word? What's the word, you guys? I forgot the word. Transitions, there you go. You want to talk about your staff and how they're qualified to deal with situations. You want to talk about the roles and responsibilities that the staff has, and the same for the parents. So many things that you need to have in place in your center. Many topics that you should cover definitely should be found inside your educational handbook. And basically, when you hand this over to your staff, because they should all be aware of it, obviously, as well as your paying customers, you should be extremely proud of it, right? Because you took the time to create it, you believe it, you back it up 100%. And what's going to happen is you're going to start attracting amazing families in your business, in your center, that totally understand what your center's about, what you believe in, and that they're actually excited to sign up their kids in your program. So the third document that you have to have in place, the third handbook, is your team handbook, obviously, right? So your team handbook is just that. It's a document that you prepare that is going to be given to every single one of your employees. Again, whether you're running a big center or whether you're running a tiny home daycare and you just have an assistant, you need to have some type of document in place where you, as the business owner, it's kind of setting the guidelines, so that anyone that starts working it for you knows exactly what's expected of them. That's really important. The last thing you want is to have a bunch of educators working for you on your program with no direction, like nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows what to do if this happens or if that happens. So it's up to you to do the work before you start hiring. And if you already started hiring people and you don't have this document, or you do and it's really flimsy, it's never too late to go back and create an amazing team handbook and then just have a staff meeting and go through it, okay, with your staff. That's also really important. So team handbook, again, you can be done virtually, or it could be done on a like a pen, like a paper format. Totally up to you. You can email it to all your staff, but it's something that is really important. And there's so many amazing things you can add in here that's going to make your life easier, which is what everybody wants. Let's face it. You don't want to be repeating yourself over and over and over. So you want to talk about everyone's responsibilities, right? So I would start off with every single position in your center, right? What are the positions that your center offers, right? So is it an assistant, a lead educator, educators, part-time educator, full-time educator, a manager, a cook, whatever, right? It's going to look different for your center, depending on how big it is. After that, I would detail point format. What are the responsibilities that come with a position, right? They're all different, but you have to make it real clear. After that, you want to talk about full-time, part-time, making sure that's really, really clear. Because what you'll get is some staff members want to know that, they're applying for a full-time position, but other people don't want a full-time position. They're okay with working 20 hours a week, right? So you want to make sure that people know what they're signing up for. You want to talk about the hiring process and what that's like in your center. You want to talk about your onboarding procedure, which is also really important, really clear. It has to be extremely detailed, and it has to be a procedure that is actually written down so that everyone knows what to follow. You want to talk about vacations. You want to talk about days off. If someone needs to call in sick, right? What's expected of them, right? So for example, in your policy where you start detailing, let's say a sick day, for example, you want to talk about how many sick days you offer in a year, depending on the position, depending if they're full-time or part-time. And then you want to talk about, is it paid or not? Then you want to start telling your staff that, okay, if you need to take a day off or if you have to call in sick, this is the procedure that you have to follow. One of the most popular complaints that I hear a lot of business owners tell me is staff, having staff that's not quality, having staff that calls in sick all the time, having staff that takes a lunch break and never comes back after, right? And that's actually happened to me. So that's one of the biggest complaints that a lot of business owners, childcare business owners have is their staff. So if you have a clear team handbook in place that is signed, that your staff is completely aware of, then it kind of minimizes all those extra headaches, okay? I'm not saying that you're never gonna have a problem with your staff because obviously you signed up for this, you're a business owner, but it's going to minimize. And it's also going to repel the staff that you don't wanna be working for you. Because if someone knows, for example, that there's a performance review every 3 months, or they're expected to go take, let's say, personal development classes and come back during the staff meeting and report to everyone, then, that kind of turns a lot of non-quality staff off. They don't want to do that. They don't want to grow. They don't want to learn new things, right? They just want to stay where they're at and just get paid, and that's it. So, and that's a good thing, right? You want to be repelling the people that you don't want to work for you, and you want to attract the quality people. So what other topics can you add in your team handbook? Obviously, you want to touch on safety procedures. Obviously, that's really important, emergency and all that. You want to have some type of policy when it comes to social media and having this little gadget with them 24/7. You want to talk about personal development, right? So do you pay for them to attend, let's say, workshops every 6 months? Do you have retreats for your staff? Do you have someone coming in the center and actually training the staff every couple of months on a specific topic? Performance reviews, how you do raises. So these are just a few examples that I can think of the top of my head, but I just want to show you how detailed it should be, okay? And again, you should not be copying someone else's work because this is your business, your rules, your vision. It's going to look different for you. And at the end, I would definitely make them sign it. And again, keep it in their file. You always want to be respecting the law. So whatever labor standards you need to follow, obviously as an employer, you have to be up to date and do your homework, your due diligence, and make sure that you are working within your legal boundaries as an employer. But this is definitely one of the documents that is going to help you run a much more smoother business. So I don't know if you guys have any questions. Let me just drink my smoothie and see if there's any questions that pop in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you have these 3 books, these three handbooks, policy books, whatever you want to call them, and let me know what you think about them. Like, do you find that you actually put in the time to create an amazing, let's say, policy handbook, or did you kind of do it real quickly? I know I remember when I first started to get my license, I needed to have some type of a policy handbook, and I had no idea how to write it. And the first one was really, really flimsy. It was a few pages long. Like, it was really not what it should be. And I quickly realized that there were a lot of things that were happening in my day-to-day operations that, I had to kind of take care of consistently. So parents' checks always being late, parents showing up late to pick up their kids, right? And parents just didn't know, right? They just didn't know. And I was always saying the same things over and over. So when I had this meeting with my business partner in the office, we kind of looked at each other and we said, wait a minute, don't you find that we're always running after parents for payments? Don't you find that we're always repeating the same things? So what we started doing is we started opening up like Google documents and kind of adding all those things in there. So when we had the time to sit in the office and look back at our policy handbook, we went in and we started going through every single point, and we saw that there were so many flaws, that the parents didn't have guidance, right? They didn't know what to do when a child was sick. They didn't know that they couldn't bring their child in. Like, some parents would bring their kids in after lunchtime, right, and come pick them up like at 6. So we had to really get clear on what was important to us. We had to get clear on all the rules and really detail it as much as possible. So then when we gave this to the new batch of parents that were coming in, we saw a huge difference because parents knew what was expected of them. We would refer them back to the policy handbooks. So they knew, for example, if they had to make a complaint, right? It wasn't acceptable to come in the office to start yelling. They had to follow a procedure. If they had to call in sick, they knew exactly that, oh, my child's going to be sick. I have to advise the daycare, on this time. I have to send an email, or I have to call the center and leave a message on the answering, right? So whatever that is for you, it's really important that you guide your people. You guide them so they know what to do, so that you, in return, as the business owner, you're not there running around after everyone doing the same thing, asking them for the same things, because you know that you've taken the time to kind of lay that foundation. You've set the tone, you've created these rules. And once they sign on that line and they give you that first payment, they've accepted these rules. They know exactly what's expected of them, right? So you shouldn't feel bad in return, let's say ending someone's contract or giving someone a penalty when you know that they've agreed to these terms, right? And the same goes for your team handbook. Staff has to be, they have to feel supported, right? They have to know that you're a professional, you're a business owner, but you want what's best for them, obviously, but you're also there to protect your business as well. So it's really important that you do this work before you start really just growing your team. And it's going to get so much easier, you guys. It's going to get easier. The more you grow, the more your business grows, the more you start really dealing with different types of employees, you'll see who's a good fit, you'll see who's not a good fit, and you'll also see the gaps in your team handbook, right? Maybe now you have a team handbook and you think, well, I'm good. But you're going to start seeing that when you really start assessing, like, wait a minute, I find that I'm saying that a lot, or I find that there's always questions about that certain topic. Maybe I didn't do a good job in my team handbook. Let me go back and update. And once you update, all you need to do is, again, have, let's say, a general assembly. If you have that with your parents once a year, I know we used to have that once a year, and update them. You can send out an email and letting them know that you've updated things. And with your staff, it's as simple as just letting them know inside your staff meeting, like, we've made changes, and go through the changes with them and answer their questions, right? So this does not have to be difficult, super simple, and it's going to save you a lot of headaches, a lot of stress, and a lot of anxiety, let me tell you. So that's it for me, you guys. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you just joined, no worries. The video is going to stay up, so just go back and watch it from the beginning. And again, if you have questions, go back, even if you're watching the replay, and I'll go back and I'll answer them. I am hosting a live masterclass tomorrow at 8 p.m. There's around 120 people signed up already, so I'm really excited. It's going to be live time. You can ask me questions, 8 p.m. Eastern, and if you can't make it, it does not matter. Once you sign up, you get the recording, right? You'll get the replay sent to your inbox, so you won't miss a thing. And the topic is how to run, operate, and grow a fully booked and profitable childcare business. And it's going to be around 40 minutes long. I'll try to keep it under an hour. And I'm going to talk about the three systems or three phases. I don't know how to phrase that yet. We'll see. Three things. I don't want to say things. Okay, so that's 3 stages every successful childcare business owner goes through in their career, in their journey. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through them, give you some examples, then again answer some questions at the end. I hope you guys are having an awesome start to your week. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. Hopefully, I will put the comments in. I'll put the link in the comments, and you can sign up directly from there. And hopefully, I will see you guys in the masterclass tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Bye, guys.